The Department of Defense recently updated its statistics on military eligibility, which show that unbelievably 77% of young people, excuse me, age 17 to 24 are ineligible to serve in the military. And the leading disqualifier for service is obesity. This is a grave national security concern, and we really do have to do better to achieve those healthy outcomes for our young people. So included in the 2018 Farm Bill was a program that I had championed. It's the Healthy Fluid Milk Incentives Program. The 2020 to 2025 dietary guidelines for Americans had noted that 90% of Americans do not meet the U.S. recommended dairy consumption. Do you support this approach of encouraging SNAP households to purchase healthy but under-consumed foods such as milk and also other nutrient-dense dairy products like cheese and yogurt to remind people of the nutritional value?
Yes, Senator, and we're very pleased with the progress that we've been making on the Healthy Fluid Milk Incentives Program. It's recently been awarded to a new contractor, Auburn, and they're making great progress. And we hope to learn quite a bit of how what they're incentivizing, and then the details of how it works at the register. We feel like there's some stickiness, and if we can pull those two things together, ideally, we can take lessons learned there for future work.
Very good. It's something that I'm continuing to work on for this upcoming Farm Bill, and of course, to help alleviate some of the concerns coming from DOD and obesity that's rampant with our youth. So I want to tag on a little bit with what the ranking member was saying. A lot of us are very shocked at the CBO score that came out, and the CBO had raised its cost estimate for SNAP by $93 billion over the next 10 years. And I do believe it's important that we're providing critical assistance to those citizens that are most vulnerable. But we also have an obligation to ensure that these federal funds are not abused and that they're not taken advantage of.
Greetings, friends. I have exciting news to share with you this Saturday. Up to $1,200 can be claimed right now. State budget surpluses are being used towards a new round of relief payments, but economists are warning about a looming recession and how it could affect families and seniors. My friends, please make sure that you watch until the end of this video for the complete details. Also, I will be announcing the two winners of yesterday's $75 Walmart gift card giveaway at the end of the video, so please make sure that you do stay tuned. If you would like to enter next Friday's giveaway, all you have to do, friends, is click and like several of my videos, and then do comment below the keyword of each video that you watch. The more videos that you comment on, the greater your chances, friends, of winning the weekly giveaways. Now, friends, up to $1,200 is now available for hundreds of thousands of low-income working families in the state of Washington. This is thanks to a 2008 law that is finally funded for the first time. The money comes from the Working Families Tax Credit. It is a state program intended to provide a modest cash boost to workers near the bottom of the economic ladder, who in Washington state pay a far greater portion of their income in state taxes than the wealthy do. But because eligible families need to apply to receive it, the Washington State's Department of Revenue estimates that only about 40% of those eligible will receive it the first year. The state estimates it will pay about $230 million in refunds this year and $257 million next year. The tax credit was signed into law by Governor Christine Gregoire in 2008, but according to experts, it was worthless. Not one had received a penny in tax credits. Lawmakers facing a budget deficit provided no funding for the tax credit and said at that time they would figure out that part later. Sadly, it took more than a decade to get back around to it. In 2021, flush with aid from the federal government's emergency crisis packages, Washington state legislators finally approved funding for the tax credits. Lawmakers at the time said the popularity of the payments to individuals included in the crisis stimulus packages emphasized the value of cash assistance to working families. The program is modeled after the federal earned income tax credit, which gives money to low and middle income working families. There are 32 U.S. states that also offer their own version of the earned income tax credit. But Washington State is the only state without a state income tax to do so. That's made administering the tax credit a little trickier. The Department of Revenue has set up a new division and has allotted full-time employees to run the program. The estimated cost to run the program is about $27 million for the upcoming 2-year budget cycle. The rebates, which range from $50 to $1,200, depending on family size and income, will come from the state's general fund. The push to finally fund the program in 2021 was part of an effort by state lawmakers to make the state's tax system more fair for people. Washington State does not have a state income tax and relies heavily on the sales tax. A study by the Institute on Taxation and Economic Policy found that the poorest families in Washington paid about 18% of their income in state and local taxes, while the richest families paid only about 3% of their income in state and local taxes. That is the largest disparity in the country. In 2021, huge bipartisan majorities in the legislature passed the Working Families Tax Credit to try to reduce the tax burden on low-income families. At the same time, Democrats with no Republican support passed a capital gains tax, which is intended to target the wealthy, which imposes a 7% tax on profits of more than $250,000 from the sales of assets such as bonds and stocks. The state Supreme Court is currently considering the constitutionality of the capital gains tax. A recent Morning Consult survey recently found almost half of adults think the U.S. is already in a recession. But such a downturn, which is traditionally defined as 2 consecutive quarters of declining economic growth, has not actually happened yet. Economists say a recession could be on the way. New government data that was released on Tuesday shows that the average inflation continues to be a challenge for the U.S. economy. The Consumer Price Index, which measures a basket of goods and services, rose 0.5% in January and was up 6.4% versus a year ago. Both measures were somewhat higher than economists had expected. The big question is, can the Fed dampen activity and demand enough to dampen inflation further without pushing us into a recession? The higher than expected January inflation data prompted some concerns that disinflation, which is defined as slowing inflation rates, had been put on pause. The Federal Reserve is expected to continue to raise interest rates. The difficulty the central bank faces is whether it can execute a soft landing. So many economists said they expect a recession following the new January inflation data. The big question is just how severe a downturn may be. The unemployment rate is at 3.4%. That is the lowest since May 1969. Meanwhile, there are a record number of job openings, which increased to 11 million as of December. Well, my beautiful and most dearest friends, that is the end of my daily stimulus update video for this Friday. My friends, thank you so much for being part of this community and for joining me here every day. The 2 winners of today's Walmart gift card giveaway is Sharon Clayton and Shelly Zealous. Congratulations, my friends! To claim your gift card, please check your notifications page and send me a message. Or you can message me on my Facebook page. Remember, friends, I'll be giving away more gift cards next Friday. Please don't forget to enter the giveaways by clicking and liking several of my videos, and then comment below the keyword of each video that you watch.